Speaking of things that don't make sense, the Greens are now the economics party, with Adam Bandt telling the Press Club that the government need to introduce a 2-year rent freeze in order to solve the housing crisis. He said to the Press Club that a rent freeze is legally and politically possible. The Victorian, South Australian, Tasmanian, ACT all froze rent increases during the pandemic, so they can do it again. I love this little clip from Adam Bandt talking on the 7:30 report on the ABC last night, describing the response of the Prime Minister to his suggestion of a rent freeze.
We are in a rental and housing crisis, and the government does not seem to get it. And when we put on the table during question time ideas like a rent freeze, like we had during the pandemic, the Prime Minister just throws his hands up and calls it pixie dust.
Caleb, is Adam Bandt the chief pixie?
Yes, he is the chief pixie. And, you know, I don't often say it, but Albo's dead right here. I mean, how on earth would you enforce, let alone actually practically make a rent freeze happen? All it would do is mean that, you know, they want a temporary rent freeze, right? So when that temporary rent freeze comes off, what do you think's going to happen to rent? They're going to go through the absolute roof to pay for all the maintenance that landlords put off in the years prior while there was a rent freeze. I mean, it's just an absolute brain fart from the brain-dead Greens who've got nothing to offer. It's populist nonsense, but what else do we expect?
That's to say nothing of the fact that this is a state issue. What he's talking about is literally getting the feds to essentially bribe the states to the tune of $16 billion.
Hey, we've done it with energy policy.
to bribe the states, say, we'll give you $16 billion if you do this rent freeze. This is ridiculous. It's not even within your purview, mate. Leave the states to do their thing, like Palaszczuk has done up in Queensland, now making it so that landlords, they've essentially got a rent freeze. You can only raise it once a year, which essentially is only going to mean a massive spike annually because landlords are going to pack a punch the one time they can every year. It's ridiculous.
So you're saying it's pixie dust?
Pixie dust.
Pretty much.